So let's go to the Zoom machine here and say hello to Jordan Burroughs, who's kind enough to be on the program. Jordan, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, brother. Thanks for having me today.
It's great to talk to you again. I talked to you once before. I think we got off on the wrong foot, Jordan, because you were on my show maybe 2 years ago, and then Chael Sonnen, for whatever reason, went in on you about MMA and whatnot, and I was kind of with my guy, but then I texted you privately. I was like, yo, man, we were just playing, and then you didn't write back to me, and I was like, shit, I pissed off Jordan Burroughs, so I'm sorry, Jordan. If I offended you, I'm sorry.
A little bit. I had to make you sweat a little bit. Okay. No, it was good. It was good. You know what? I got a chance to kind of reconcile a little bit with Chael this past year. And if you go back and look at some of the things that he said about me lately, he's spoken very highly of me.
Okay.
But ultimately, I think the discrepancy between me and Chael is when I first mentioned that I was interested in doing MMA, he was like, okay, I got to fight for you, UFC Fight Pass for $50K. And I'm like, I've wrestled for $50K. And I've made more than that in a single wrestling match. And he was like, basically calling me a liar. And so, right, he got on me and he's like, listen, you've never made that amount of money. Wrestling doesn't make that money. It's a dying sport. But he was clearly wrong.
Yes, and you're doing very well for yourself. But Jordan, I have to be honest, like I put you on my wish list because just a couple of Mondays ago, you're on Twitter and you say, in short, I'm paraphrasing, I just want that one MMA fight. Now, you've been that guy. You've been that sort of, Trojan horse that every promoter would love to get his hands on, even if it's for one fight. Like I could see Coker salivate. I'm sure you did. But before we get to the calls, there's the tweet right there. I want one MMA fight before I retire. Just one. October 27th, 2021 at 8:58 a.m. Jordan, why did you tweet this? Because everyone was going to go crazy when you put this out.
I can't remember exactly what it was. I think maybe I did some boxing earlier that day. And I felt like my hands and my footwork. Like, let me remind you, I've never struck. I've never did any striking. I did very limited jiu-jitsu. But I know how extremely strong I am in my positioning in wrestling. I know how well I can move my feet and my head and my hands. So I think I would transition well into MMA. And I can't remember exactly what kind of triggered it, but I was like, I have this calling. Like, I feel like I have this calling where I'm like deep down inside, when it's all said and done, and my body's banged up for good, and I'm walking away and putting away my wrestling shoes, I'll always have that thought, like, damn, what would it be like if I would have gotten in the cage? And I don't want to live with regret. So ultimately for me, really positioning myself now where I'm like, does this make sense? How does it make sense? And, really just entertaining offers like, okay, can we do this? Is this even possible? Will someone even take me on for a singular event? And does it make sense timeline wise? Does my wife agree with it? Number one. And then I think lastly is, can I still be the best wrestler in the world and, go out and commit to training for a fight simultaneously? Sometimes when you chase two things, you don't get either. So I'm hoping that I can still maintain my position in the wrestling world by being the best at what I do, my craft that I intended to be the best at, but also I have a desire, bro. I just have a strong desire to get in there and see what I got.
So this is sincere. You're not just looking for some retweets.
Oh no, I'm not just trying to ruffle the feathers and I don't try to draw attention that's unwarranted. I tweeted that because I'm serious about it and I want to kind of entertain offers. Because I always hear people are like, okay, yeah, if you fight, you could make this, or if you tried it, you could do this. But I'm like, okay, well, let me hear these. Let me actually hear what the professionals in the business would have to say about it. Because a lot of people will tell me one fight, but then they'll be like, okay, we need to sign you to a 2-year, 4-fight deal. And I'm like, that's not really what I'm interested in. So I think that just sitting down with some people in the business who are insiders and kind of understand the dynamics of the game and what I can expect. Because if I go in there and they're like, well, this is what we can do for you because you're not really seasoned and we have to put you against kind of a easy guy right away, and then we'll kind of build your name. That's not what I really want to do. That's not what I aspire toward in this sport. So I've been listening. I've been kind of keeping my ear to the pavement and seeing what there is out there and seeing if this is something that I can actually get into.
So to be clear, you really just want one fight, or is it, I just want one for now and then we'll see how it goes?
Yeah, I think, it's hard, right? 'Cause it's twofold. If you win easily, you're like, this is easy. I can do this. I'm gonna make more money.
Right.
And then if you lose, you're like, I can't go out like this. I got to get back in there and redeem myself. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to just do one in particular, but I think that with the right opponent for the right price, with the right timing, I would definitely be interested.
So after you tweeted that, just a few minutes later, your wife retweets it, Lauren, and she's like, "I left you for an hour at the gym, and now you're doing this." So how does she?
Was not, let me clarify. She was not in the same room as me when I sent that tweet. See, she didn't see it until she returned back to the apartment, and she was like, "What are you doing? Where's your phone? You've been log off. You got to log off for the day."
So she's not in favor?
She loves what I do already. She's like, "Listen, you're one of the best wrestlers that have ever walked this planet. Just continue to operate in your calling. Be really good at this. And, you made a great living. We're successful. We don't ask for anything. We don't need anything. And people will respect you across all combat sports. And, you haven't gotten beat up. You've taken minimal punishment in your career." So I think that's kind of where her mind is. But again, I'm just kind of like this, I have like this kind of animalistic instinct where I'm like, I just want to get out there and throw hands and see what it's like.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Not that long ago, you were pretty open about, no, I don't really have much interest in doing this. So what changed?
I don't know, man. I'm just getting older. I really think as time passes and I start to feel, how my body feels after each championship, every year I feel a little bit older. Aches a little bit more, the injuries linger a little bit longer. So I'm like, damn, how long can I do this? And, to be honest, I went and I won another world championship, a record tying championship. And I won 50 grand. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I worked hard all summer, dedicated, focus, was dialed in. And, my paycheck was less than 100 grand. And I'm like, I could go out there and do this and fight ultimately for 3, 4, 5 times that. So, I think that's kind of where I stand. I'm like, gives me an opportunity to elevate my brand, to have respect in all circles in the MMA community, if that's something that I want to pursue. But then also, it's ability to just like garner financial resources relatively easily. It's not easy. It's not an easy sport, but from all accounts that I've heard from former wrestlers that are in the MMA world, they're like, it's a lot different. It's the training's not as rigorous. It's a lot more sharpening. And I've seen guys that I've competed with go on and be successful. I watched Justin Gaethje and, Michael Chandler in the ring last week, and those guys are phenomenal fighters, but I've been able to compete with both of them in wrestling. Yeah. And so I'm like, man, they can do it. I believe I can do it. I've got a unique set of skills. So I think I could get at it.
But when you see
but it really depends on the timing. It depends on the timing, right? Like, how long does it take to be great at something? It's like the 10,000 hour rule, because what may take you 10,000 hours may only take me 7,500. Right? So I don't really know how much time it's going to take for me to get sharp in these particular positions, but I'm interested to see what I can do. I just want to see what I can do.
So when you see Gaethje and Chandler fight in a war like that, right? I mean, that's really insanity. I mean, it's kind of an anomaly in a sense, because not every fight is like that. But when you see that, is there a part of you that's like, I want that? Like, I could do that? I could be in a fight like that? Or are you of the mentality of like, oh, I want to do this, but I want to take someone down, choke them out, and then go home and not have a scratch on my face?
Yeah, I like the latter. I think I'm all about war. Like, I've never shied away from a headbutt or a knee to the face or blood or anything. I've dealt with that in my sport. I consider myself an Ironman in my sport, but they're in a different space. So I've wrestled those two guys, and I know for a fact that when I wrestled them, they were different than a lot of my opponents. They never laid down. They never gave up. Right? I was a superior athlete, a better wrestler, but I realized that they had a big heart. They were very tough guys. So, it really is all about the dynamics of what you do. No one goes in there to get beat up. I'm not going toe to toe with anyone just for the sake of putting on a show. Like, I'm trying to get my hand raised. So, I don't think you welcome damage. That doesn't make you a gladiator. Like, what makes you a champion is the ability to generate damage without receiving much of it. So, that's kind of what I do as a wrestler. Score as many points as possible without giving up many. So I'm not going to exchange shots with anyone for the sake of the entertainment of the crowd. Like I want to win and I want to dominate it without taking too much punishment.
So now tell me, what has life been like since you sent out that tweet? Because I would imagine even some people reached out to me. I didn't give, hey, they wanted your phone number. I'm like, yo, don't come to me for the phone number. But
Yeah,
I'm assuming a lot of promoters wanted to talk to you, right?
they have, and I've been kind of, relatively tentative because I'm like, okay, I don't really want to get into something, commit to something that makes me leave what my first love is, at least at this particular moment, So basically for me, I'm like, okay, what does it look like from a management perspective? What do I need to do from a training perspective? Do I need to box, 2-3 times a week? Do I need to do jujitsu, once, twice a week? Like, how can I fit this into my schedule? And then we talk numbers. Okay, how much can I make? What's that number look like for me? I was like, okay, if you make 2 fights, you can do X amount of dollars per fight. We'll pay you X amount per month to train, and you can do it right here in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is my home base where I live. So, just thinking about all those things, like, can I fit it into my schedule, and can I take the time to master it while simultaneously wrestling? I don't really know. I mean, it's a tough thing. I think, I consider myself a professional at what I do. So I think that I would have a relatively easy time transitioning, but I have a lot of respect for the guys that have done it for a long time, right? Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje, those guys all graduated from college at right about the same time that I graduated. So all this last decade that I've spent wrestling, they spent training,
right?
MMA specifically. So, I get it. I'd be behind the 8 ball, but I think I'd learn fast. I'm a quick learner. I'd adjust.
This would be a huge deal.
But I don't have to fight those guys. I'm not fighting these guys.
They'll give you some dude who's 0-1, and it would be a massive deal. I could see Coker. I mean, can I ask, have you talked to Coker? I feel like Coker is salivating, or someone from Bellator had to have reached out to you. One championship, Coker, PFL. These guys, you got $50K for that world championship. They're giving you 10 times that to fight for them. No doubt about it, at least.
So that would be nice. That's the thing, bro. Like, if I can, there'd be a lot of people behind me. It'd be a really exciting moment for me. But part of it is that I have to check is like a little bit of ego, right? Like, you want to see what it's like out there. Like, you want to be the champ. Like, people call me the champ, but I'm a wrestler, right? The real champions are in the combat sports world, in boxing and in MMA. So I want to feel that. Like, I want to know what that's like. And so, a lot of it is like, some of it is ego, it's pride. Like, I want to feel what it's like to be regarded in that same capacity. But also, I've gone to a lot of MMA events and sat ringside, and I've got a ton of respect in the MMA world. So, that's very satisfying for me, knowing that even if I never step inside this ring, like, I'm certified. But I still kind of want to rock. I want to see what it's like.
What's your number one career goal right now? You just won another world championship, 5.
I want to win the Olympics. That's it.
Okay. So 2024 is number one.
2024 Olympic gold medalist. That's my primary goal. Nothing else really matters as much as that to me.
Quick side note: how difficult was it to watch the Olympics this summer and not be there?
It was tough. It was tough, man. It's almost like watching DC commentate, Ngannou versus Stipe.
Yeah.
Right. Like, knowing that you want to be in this fight, but also when you're calling it from a professional manner. So you put on a different hat. You take off the competitive shirt and you put on, right, your professional suit. And you're like, okay, I'm going to call this thing, and I'm going to regard these guys highly because they deserve it. Plus their families are watching. I can't be a hater on the air. You know what I mean? Like, if people at home want their guy to be regarded as a champion as they are for making it to the Olympic Games, the last thing they want to hear is one of their competitors is being bitter, on NBC.
Right. But I mean, it's a tough one because I think in one stance, like, you're like, oh man, maybe I don't even want to watch this, but you had to watch it for your work. Like, there was probably a part of you that just wanted to ignore the whole damn thing, right?
Yeah, kind of, but I'm a wrestling fan,
right?
Naturally, so I wanted to see it. I wanted to see what those guys were capable of. I wanted to be there. There's nothing in the world that I would have rather done in the month of August than be, a part of the Olympic Games. I felt like I was still in a position to be one of the best wrestlers in the world and go out there and pursue a gold medal. But, it's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes for me. It was good though. We had a great performance. Team USA looked phenomenal. I think we won the most combined titles over all three styles than any other time period in U.S. history from a wrestling perspective. So I thought we did a really great job. It was fun to call. Got to get my feet wet in that particular field, if that's something that I want to pursue post wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was cool, man. Got a lot of opportunities on the table when my career actually finishes up.
One of the big stories from this past summer was Gable Steveson and what he did, and then the NIL deal with WWE. Have you ever talked to them about going over there?
WWE?
Yeah.
No. It's not my style, bro. Like I don't consider myself. I don't have that type of charisma and like personality. It's not my thing.
Okay. Have they ever reached out to you?
I respect it. No. They
Really?
haven't. I'm too small, bro. Like I'm tiny.
Come on.
I'm 175 pounds.
Yeah. So what?
Like, I'm gonna be like Rey Mysterio out there.
Yeah.
They're gonna be. I'm gonna have Gable throw me into people. Nah, bro. It's. I grew up watching it. Was a huge fan. It's actually why I started wrestling, because I loved the WWF so much as a kid.
Wow.
But it's much different now. It's a much different experience when you see it as a high level competitor. They call us amateurs, in our sport. We're amateurs, professionals. So when people ask me, what do I do? I'm like, I'm a wrestler. And they're like, well, what kind of wrestling? Like professional wrestling? I'm like, no, like Olympic style wrestling. And they're like, oh, interesting. So I respect it. I love Gable for taking that route. I think he's gonna be great at it.
Speaking of weight, you went up to 79 kilograms, but that's not an Olympic weight class. So will you go back down to 74 now as you attempt to make the 24 team?
Yeah, that's it. That's the plan. So I'm going to stay up at 79 for the next two world championships, 22, 23, and then I'm going to go back down to 74 for the Olympic Games in 2024 in Paris. It's one of the tough things too, is as I was talking to some of these promoters, they're like, hey, we need you to get down to 55. I'm like, I'm not
Get out of
55. Here. I can't make 55.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're too small for 70. And I'm like, I cannot make 55. I don't know what you want me to say to you. It's like, so, that's the tough thing. I've wrestled all of my championships outside of this year have been at 74 kilos. So 163. So I'm smack dab between two weight classes. I'm too big for 55, too small for 70. I moved up this year to 174, but still was an easy cut. I'm walking around 178, 179. So I'd definitely be one of the smallest guys at the weight class. They're like, listen, day before weigh-ins, we get you dialed in. We got professionals. We got this special way of doing this. We get you down to 55, and we get you feeling good. I'm like, but I lose everything that makes me a phenomenal wrestler. My power, my explosiveness, my speed, my confidence. So I don't know, bro. Like they're telling me they can get me a catch weight. They're like, we can get you a catch weight, 165. We'll get you to compete there. You feel good there. We'll get some guy to wrestle here and agree to terms at a catch weight for you.
Let me tell you something, Jordan. And I could do this. I'll do this pro bono for you. If any promoter is calling you up and saying, hey, I need you at 155, they need to be slapped in the face and they need to turn in their promoter license. Make the fight at 165, make it at 168, make it at I don't give a crap. Just to have you make your debut on their card is a big enough deal. It doesn't matter. Look at Kayla Harrison. She's fighting at 155. That weight class doesn't exist either. PFL's smart enough to know you get in bed with Kayla Harrison, it's good business. Come on.
I love Kayla. She's the best.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. We'll see. I'll keep you updated. I'll keep DC in the loop.
Let's go.
As we progress. And
well, don't tell him anything because he stabbed me in the back. He'll stab you too, okay? So come to me and I'll show you the way. Is he helping you out?
I haven't talked to him in a while, but he's a good man.
Okay.
He always takes care of me. I can appreciate it.
So what do you think? Before it's all said and done, true or false, Jordan Burroughs will compete in at least one MMA fight? I go for it. I say true. At least one. Let's go. Before what age? You're 32 now, right?
33.
33. For what age?
Yeah. Before I retire officially. So let's say let's say 37, next 4 years.
So you think 24 is your last Olympics, right?
Last wrestling. I'm done 2024 from wrestling space.
Any chance you fight before 24?
It'd have to be for the right price and the right time. It's hard because I'm still doing so well in wrestling right now.
Yeah.
I mean, so to kind of this space, you know, I really considered it a lot this summer after losing, because I'm like, damn, when this is all said and done, like wrestling's such an honorable sport. Like honor doesn't pay the bills. You know what I mean? So like you get to this place where you're like, if I really want all these things that, if I really want all these things that I desire, can I get these from a wrestling perspective? You know, so I think that you have to, for me, to start to consider all the sweat equity that I've put into the sport and all the things that I've been able to, you know, get from my body. And I'm trying to maximize that before I step away for good from like an athletic competition perspective.
Man, this would be a massive story. I mean, I want you to go out there and win that gold and shove it down everyone's face. Everyone who said that you were done, y'all must have forgot.
That's what I want.
That would be nice. But
That's what,
$50K for a world championship? Come on, man. You deserve way more than that. That's crazy. You deserve way more, and you could get way more over in MMA. So I'd love to see it happen. You know, if you need any tips on who's the right people to talk, we'll take the conversation offline, Jordan. All right, from one Bills fan to another. All right, big win
Bills.
yesterday. Go Bills. Bad win 2 weeks ago, but we're back on track. You're back on track. You got the gold. John Smith, we're coming for you. All right, number one.
Yeah, man, we're gonna try to do it. I got a lot more work to do, but I'm focused. I feel good about where I'm going right now.
Well, I feel good about us burying the hatchet because I have to admit I was feeling a little funky about it all. Chael brought me into the gutter with him, all right? I was rolling in the mud with Chael, and I had to back my guy, but, you know, I got a lot of love for you.
Chael is funny, though. I can't deny it. Even when he's talking badly about it, you have to laugh. He's talking bad about you. You've got to laugh about it a little bit because he's a funny dude.
Well, congrats on the recent gold. Most importantly, congrats on the fourth child. Well done,
Thank
my
you.
friend. And I hope to see this. Thank you for coming on and being honest with your feelings. I really appreciate it. And hopefully we get to see it happen. I wish you the best.
Thank you, sir. Good to talk to you, man.
Always talk to you as well. Hope to do it again soon. There he is, Jordan Burroughs. Trust me when I say this. That would be a massive, massive deal.